Hi everyone, it's Jill Lancet, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, actually in Greystone, Sydney, Australia. Greystone, Sydney, I don't know, whatever, however you want to say it. Anyway, I'm making another Christmas card. I'm just going to turn that down. Sorry, I like to have some music playing. Makes me forget I'm in the middle of a building site down the road. Okay, this is the card we're going to make today. Now, I did put a little sneaky peek of this on my Facebook page, my business Facebook page. Yeah, getting right into the spirit of Christmas at the moment. I wanted to show you this really interesting, it's called a hybrid die and embossing folder. I'm going to show you how to use it, and first of all I'll show you where it is in the catalogue. It's right here, it's in the mini July to December, the mini catalogue, and it's on page 23. And you get the embossing folder and the dies. I didn't buy the stamp set, funnily enough, but it comes together. Excuse me. As you know, I've still got this crazy long COVID or whatever it is. The embossing folder looks like this. And it's a standalone. You can use that just as an embossing folder, and it will emboss one piece, and it'll do it beautifully. But you get these dies, so that's what the embossing folder packaging looks like. Sorry if that's a bit glary. And the dies, you get all these dies, and I've got them all over the place. But you've got one that will cut it out, actually cut the shape out, and then you put it back in the embossing folder and you emboss it. Or you pop this big one here in, and you actually end up cutting and embossing at the same time, which just saves a lot of time. So I'm going to show you how I achieved that. So that's the one piece of Very Vanilla that was embossed and cut, and then I've put them back together like a jigsaw puzzle. These are dies out of the same set, and I just used straight cardstock for those. As I said, I didn't buy the stamp set. I do have this stamp set for the greetings, and we're going to use, which one is it? Wishing you a season of hope and light. And in the middle, we're going to put hoping your Christmas shines bright with the love of family and friends. Oh, and I didn't get that one out, but I'll get that one out in a tick. I just want to show you how I used the embossing folder and the die. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Now I'm not actually going to do it because I've already got one cut out, but I want to show you how I set it up in the embossing folder. Excuse me. I'll just pop that out of the way. You may or may not be able to see that. I'm having one of those days again. What? I keep having them. I don't know why. Oh, first of all, there's my shop, my online store there, jillancet.stampinup.net. And this is the host code for September. It's till the 30th of September, not long to go now. So I'll show you how I managed to do this. Now, I'll show you this first. Now, normally that would just slide around. Just like that, even if I was putting that in the right spot, which it's not. But once I put it on the right side, did you see that? It actually, you can just slide it in and it will grab and it will stay secure once you've got it in the right spot. And there it is there. So as much as I try to move, I mean, I can move it if I wanted to. Oh, no, I can't even move it. So what I did was I put that in place Now the measurements of this card are slightly different to what we would normally use, but this is a straight out quarter of an A4. So it is 10.5 and it is 14.9 centimetres. But even so, it's not, it doesn't fill this whole panel. So you've got to make sure you're covering up the die. Now the die's, it's in there, okay? I've got 2 little bits of tape there. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, I think I'll take the tape off so that I've got it handy. So die hasn't moved. So I can lay this on here and see how that's poking out. I don't want to see that, but I want it straight. So I'm just going to line it up. I'm looking for the border on all sides to be even. Then I got the tape, and it's just this removable tape that I always use, and I just did it on the opposite corners. Now that just means that the paper is not going to move around either. So I can close it and check to see. Now the cutting line is very close to the design, so even though it's a tiny little bit over there, I know that it's going to cut within the border. So let's pretend I've just put that through there, and this is what we come out with. So I might just pop that onto a dark background so you can see. So that's the same piece of paper. It has cut it very, very close to the edges, but that's okay. We're going to glue this bit down, okay? So now that I've shown you how to do that, and look at the detail on that. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'll show you the card again. So we're gluing that straight to the card front. We're popping this up on Stampin' Dimensionals, and the same with this, and we'll get to that, but I just want to discuss the size of the card. Now, because this is A4, a quarter of an A4, this is usually half of an A4, I've had to make that slightly bigger, but don't worry, it still fits into one of our envelopes. So it's cut at 22.2. So instead of cutting it in half this way, we have to cut it out of a piece of cardstock like this. But you can use all of that scrap on other projects. So it's 22.2 centimetres by 15.4 centimetres, and it's scored at 11.1. So I'll just pop that down there if you want to have a look at that. You can just have a look at that while I just fold this over. So as I said, we've scored it at 11.1, which is half of 22.2. Who said I didn't know how to do maths? Okay, so that's our card base. And as I said, it's just that tiny bit bigger than a normal, what we would call a normal, I think it's A6, C6, I don't know. I think it's A6. Right. So that's going to get glued on there. And we'll do that right this second because I've got some other die cutting to do and I have it already set up. So just be very careful how you do this now, okay? We have tiny little borders. So you want to just put little bits of glue. You don't want it oozing out everywhere, but you do want to catch those little borders. Now, you don't need a lot of glue. I mean, I know sometimes it looks like I'm putting a lot of glue on there, but it's really not. And if you have the fine tip glue, this will probably go a little bit better, but I find I manage. So that's probably too much glue there. So that's going on our card front now. And I just want to make sure I'm putting it the right way. That is the right way. And that is the right way. Right. Now, a little bit of a border, and try not to stretch that and, you know, make it go out of shape. But there we go. And it's got a beautiful embossed background on it. Not sure if you can see that. It looks like little stars. Very, very sweet. Okay, so that's that done. Now, I'll show you the other die cutting we're going to do. We're using the mini Bertha. I should write the name of it on there, shouldn't I? Now, what I did was I've cut these out of scraps and things. And here are the scraps here. Now, I've used cherry cobbler. I think that's, I'm not sure, I think that might be So Saffron. Just bear with me. Yep, So Saffron. Yep. And some old olive. Now, you get all these dies in that set. So there's some holly leaves there. So we want to cut 2 of those. Where's my little bit of foam? So it doesn't go everywhere. Right. And again, I mean, this might seem like a quite an elaborate card. And you may not be making this for everybody. But once you've got all these bits and pieces cut out, it's really quite quick to put together. Okay, so we're well into spring at the moment, and it's glorious here today. The weather is getting warmer and warmer as each day goes by. Now, let me just show you what I've done here. To save some cardstock, I'm cutting out this die, this rectangle die that comes with the dies. It fits inside the frame. So you don't see all of it. So I'm cutting out the smaller flower inside there. You're not going to see it, but it just saves a bit of cardstock. You know, I don't like to waste stuff, so the only thing is you've got to remember to do it when you're cutting it out. Sometimes that's the trick, remembering. Okay, oops. Right, here we go. Sorry. Oops. Oops, she says again. Right, so that's all the things cut out now. And I'll show you how I created this. So here's our little square. Here's our little, I'm going to say poinsettia. This is that removable tape, but I can reuse that over and over again until it's basically just fallen apart. I'll put this out of the way. Here's our second flower. Now I'm just going to pop all these things over to the side out of the way. We've got 3 of these little So Saffron little flowers. Now what I did was I just sticky taped the dies all together so that next time if I want to cut more out, I can just move the whole 3 of them without having to individually place them. And that's another sanity saver if you've got a lot of little pieces like that. So I'll just pop this one out. I think the sticky tape's actually holding that one in place. Right. I'll pop them over here. And lastly, the 2 holly leaves. And again, I've taped the 2 dies together so that I can move them around effectively as one. Just saves a bit of time. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces here. And we need to do some quick stamping, and then we will be popping this all together. So what I did was I cut out a small piece of the Very Vanilla, and this is the size that fits perfectly inside the cherry cobbler frame, which just happens to be 6.5 by 4.7 centimeters. So 6.5 this way, 4.7 that way. I'll pop this one over here. Hopefully you can see both of those. I didn't make out a thing. I usually make out a thing. So now I need to stamp that, and I'm stamping it with this Wishing You a Season of Hope and Light, and I want to stamp it in the cherry cobbler, and I'm going to stamp it up kind of towards that direction because I want my flower to go in that other bottom corner. So I'll just ink it up. I assume you can see that. I hope you can. Okay, now bear with me 2 seconds. My head might get in the way. So I don't want it too far up, but yeah, just about there. Now if it's not straight, I'll just turn it over. If that one's not straight, I'll just cut another one. If you cut 2, you've got 4 sides, haven't you? Okay, now I'm not pressing, like smushing. I'm just holding it down. I'm just giving it a bit of time to absorb, and it's the beautiful cherry cobbler. I think it always goes really well with the Very Vanilla. It always looks really, really nice. So there we go. Oh, that'll be the phone. Yeah, so there we go. That's ready to go. Now, I'm just going to get all my bits and pieces. We're going to do the front of the card, and then we'll do the inside of the card. So I've glued that on. Remember, I've glued that on. Now I need some dimensionals. But first I'm going to put all of this together, and then I'm going to put the dimensionals on. So a bit of liquid glue on the back of this one. Oh, where's my thing? Yep. Oh, gosh, I've done it again. I always glue when there's a hole in it. No, silly me. Yep, it's going well today, isn't it? As usual. Oh, dear. Anyway, this fits perfect. So, yeah, just take a second to line it up. I mean, don't just slap it in there. It's attention to detail, isn't it? Then this one goes in. And again, just a little bit of attention to detail. And I think that's okay. Yep, that looks brilliant to me. Okay, now here's where we put the beautiful embellishments on. And it really only does take a few minutes. Really. So what I did was, this is the smaller of the two. All I did was get the bone folder and just curl those petals up. I mean, you can do it with your thumb. You can do it with your thumbnail if you don't have a bone folder. So just going around and just giving that a little bit of a curl. Okay, so now that's going to sit 3-dimensionally. This one, the big one, I'm turning it over and I'm curling it from the back so that the petals go down. I don't have enough flowers on my cards, I've decided. Okay, so we've got those two. Now we're going to actually glue those two together. And they're not exactly the same. Now if you wanted to, you could darken the edges with cherry cobbler ink. I didn't think of that before now, so that's not going to happen. But anyway, just a bit of glue. You really do only need a tiny bit. Stick them together. Now, I'm going to be popping dimensional on the back of that. So I'm going to do that now, just so that it helps me put the other bits in. So I did the same thing with the leaves. I just had them going up, just like that. And I don't think there's a, if you stamp them you might see a difference, but yeah. So I just popped one under there, like that. Just pop a little bit of glue on that. And that will take, it doesn't really matter which way this goes, but I wanted it to be like an L shape with the leaves so that they line up with that. It just looked better in my my mind. There we go. Give that a minute to take. I could have glued them down straight onto the onto there. In fact, I will glue the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and I'm going to place that about there. And this little leaf I will just glue, just tuck it in and glue it this way. And these three little flowers, I just glued them one on top of the other. But offset them so that, yeah, they're not all kind of just on top of one another. So pop this one down, and the very smallest one goes on the top. Just pop them, put a little dot there. And it's glued straight on there as well. Right. Use your tweezers, use your bone folder, whatever you've got, because they can be a little bit fiddly. Okay. Little dot of glue on there. Pop that on there, like that. And then, I told you these things are getting a lot of use by me. The iridescent, I tried to colour one in the other day just to see what it looked like. So I'm going to put, what size is that? I think that might be medium. I'm going to put medium in the middle of the flower. Yeah, there we go. And that's ready now to go up on dimensionals itself, and it's going to go into the centre of the space around it. Now it gives it kind of like a shadow effect, which I think is really nice. So I'll just go ahead with the dimensionals, and it's probably going to use quite a few, so just bear with me. Fast forward this if you really don't worry about, not really worried about seeing the dimensionals be put in place. You could use the small ones if you like to fill in these areas around here. Of course, you could cut out a piece of, you know, fun foam, you know, like in a square, and just sort of glue it behind it. But this is just as easy. I mean, it looks fiddly, but it really does take but a minute. And say another one there. And then a few in the middle, just to keep it up as it's going through the post, if you're sending it. And I said to my husband this morning, oh my God, I said, it's really quiet outside. I think they must have finished that house. But then they all turned up, and I thought, there we go. I think I'd worry if they ever stopped building around here. So now here's the hardest bit. You've got to get them all off. So just going to do that now. I mean, really, it's not that complicated. Just a bit fiddly. I find this take your pick tool is the best thing since sliced bread. One of our demonstrators in the US, Lisa Curcio, she always used to use this, and I used to think, my God, that's a brilliant idea. So here we are. We've got our Stampin' Dimensionals on there. Now it's just a case of putting it into the aperture, and it isn't really that hard once you've got it ready to go. There we go. And I put a couple of extra of these gems on the I put it in the flat areas. There's a couple of flat areas where you can pop a little gemstone. So I did that. You can put as many or as few as you like. And that's it. And so just on the inside, I just stamped the greeting. Now I've got to find the stamp set. Bear with me. Here it is. The little spatter stamp that I used is from the Forever Fern. Now I'll just pop that out. There it is. I love these little spatter things. I mean, I do put spatter on my cards the usual way, but this is so easy to do. And we want the greeting, which is for the inside of the card. Now the card front and the card, oh, actually it's 10.6. My mistake, 10.6, so it's a little bit wider. So that's going to go on the inside, and I'm just going to stamp that now. And fingers crossed that this goes straight. Otherwise, you flip it over and you do it on the other side. So, okay, holding your breath, lining it up, hoping it's straight, and hope for the best. There we go. So I just put a bit of spatter, just, I don't know. The front had this, what I would call like little stars all over it. So I just thought it needed something on the inside. So spatters to the rescue. Oops. Ugh, honestly. And I just did it in kind of in all four corners. I'll just get a bit of scrap paper. Yeah, I'm not really organised, am I? And I did make this card the other day, so it's a couple of days since I've done it. So just in each corner, and just vary where you put the first one. You noticed I'm not re-inking after I'm stamping, just to give it a bit of texture, and turn the stamp around, so that also adds a little bit of interest. So just a bit of spatter in each corner. You totally don't have to do this. I just thought it was nice, a nice little feature. But yeah, you don't have to do that at all. So there we go. And that's ready to be glued in now. And I really did not know what that embossing / die was going to do. I had to look up on Pinterest or somewhere to see how you work it, but yeah, it makes sense when you see it. So this has got another small border around it. When you're using the dark coloured cardstock, it's always a good idea to just put a panel in there. So there's our card. Let me take that out of the way. There's the one I made previously. And it's quite easy to replicate because that die / embossing folder does it almost in exactly the same place each time. Your placement's going to be pretty spot on each time. But I love the way that little extra piece die cuts that into there. I then just cut that in. I mean, you could put some gems on there if you wanted to. Let's put some on this one just to see what they look like. I just put some little ones. Look, there's a dirty mark there. So yeah, that's where a gem's going for sure. And we'll put another one there. Now there's odd numbers now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and that's what you want. You don't want even numbers. So I might just poke this one out under there. There we go. Don't think about it. It's the hardest thing for me is putting those gems everywhere. So you might think it looks better with a couple of extra gems on it, but I hope you have a go at that. Now, as I said, you can get that in my online store if you want to. But I think it's lovely. I'm going to be this is not going anywhere. This is going to be I'm going to keep this forever probably because it makes such a lovely card. I think the next card I do, I will make it with this part of it, which cuts it out like that, but cuts in between all the leaves and everything, and it's a standalone card front. So stay tuned for that one, and I might have that up and running in a few days or so. Okay, thanks so much for your time. I know we're all busy. I'm really, really grateful that you do spend a bit of time with me every now and again. And yeah, please go to my store and purchase the things that you need. Basically, Stampin' Up! Has everything in the one store. So you can get everything you need, from glues to cardstock to beautiful designer series papers, stamps and dies, even the embellishments and the ribbons. Everything's there, even the tools that you need. So yeah, go and have a look there. September has had some great savings. We've still got a Perfect Partners special on, and also each week new items from the annual catalogue are being put onto a specials page. So if you go to my online store, you will see Shop Now, and then you will see specials, and they're both in there, Perfect Partners and September special deals. So go and have a look and let me know what you think. Also, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click on the little bell, and you will be notified when I do upload more content. So thank you. Have a lovely rest of your week wherever you are. Thanks. Bye.